breaking news.
Thanks for joining us here at noon. I'm Keitha Nelson. Let's get right to that breaking news at this hour. Jacksonville Sheriff T.K. Waters right now at the podium. You can see he's calling for a joint news conference. This is over recent threats to local schools. Also, he's joined by Superintendent Christopher Bernier. Let's listen in.
Today I'm joined with Dr. Christopher Bernier, Superintendent of Duval County Public Schools, and Adair Newman, one of our Chief Assistants at the State Attorney's Office, to share important information on recent threats of school-based violence. Yesterday, Jacksonville Sheriff's Office arrested 3 juveniles for making threats to do harm in area charter schools. I'm sharing this information because I want the public to know how seriously we take any public safety threat in our schools. The 3 juveniles that JSO arrested yesterday are very young, 11, 12, and 13 years old, respectively. While we do not relish arresting preteens or young teenagers, the threats made by these juveniles compelled us to act. Sadly, the recent school shooting in Georgia has shown us that even the very young can commit unspeakable acts of violence. Here in Jacksonville, we will not sit on our hands and wait to see if those who make threats act on their words. We will be proactive and we will arrest. We will not wait to see if threatening words will be coupled with violence. Although all 3 arrests were made yesterday, these threats were made electronically at differing times during the new school year. JSO only became aware of these threats very recently. The 11-year-old made a threat to River City Science Academy in a group chat thread on August 22nd, and in these text messages he wrote, "Hello, fellow citizens. Don't worry, just come to school tomorrow. Just don't come to school tomorrow unless you want 15 pounds of lead added to you at an extremely fast rate." And that is a quote. He was arrested for sending a written threat to conduct a mass shooting, which is a second-degree felony. The 12-year-old made a threat to Idea River Bluff Charter School through Instagram messages sent on September 9th. In these messages, this juvenile said that he would shoot up the school. He was arrested for sending a written threat to conduct a mass shooting, a second-degree felony. The 13-year-old made a threat to Idea Bassett Charter School. This juvenile posted an Instagram story on her account stating, "Don't come to school tomorrow if you want to live." She was arrested for sending a written threat to kill, which is a second-degree felony. Our children are our most precious resource. Students and teachers deserve to feel safe and be safe in our schools. This agency will not, under any circumstance, tolerate victimization of children, even if those committing these crimes are children themselves. JSO will thoroughly investigate every threat of school-based violence. If there's probable cause for an arrest, we will arrest no matter if the perpetrator is 90 years old or 10 years old. It doesn't matter if the threat is made online, in a text chain, on paper, or out loud. I want all Jacksonville citizens to know that we will have zero tolerance for school threats of school shootings. Before we take your questions, the superintendent would like to make a few remarks.
Thanks, Sheriff. And thank you to the Sheriff and the entire JSO department for their help and support. Safety takes everyone in our community. As the Duval County's public school superintendent, I want to echo the Sheriff's words that we will not tolerate students or others who makes threats against our schools. A threat can never be dismissed as a joke or a prank, and we as a school district will pursue the strongest disciplinary consequences available to us. Besides disciplinary consequences, as the Sheriff said, making a threat can often lead to criminal consequences that you heard today. Yesterday, our school police also made 2 arrests for students who have alleged to have made threats against their school building. If a threat rises to the level of a crime, we will absolutely pursue criminal consequences as well. These consequences are life-changing, but necessary in order to protect the health and safety of all of our employees and all of our students. I want to continue to say that academics is always our primary goal, but students cannot learn if they don't feel safe. Teachers can't teach if they don't feel safe. Parents, we need you to have a difficult conversation with your children. There are certain things you should never say in an airport as you approach security. And similarly, you should never write or state a threat to harm a school, student, or a person in our community. If that happens, this community will use every tool it has to address it. And we'll do everything in our power to ensure that each of our students and faculty members feel safe in our schools. Thank you, Sheriff.
So before I take questions, I do want to say this, and here's the warning. And I don't do this lightly. This is not a light thing for me. You heard the ages of the kids. Do not, under any circumstance, in any school, charter school, online, make a threat to shoot up our schools. We're not going to sit back and allow you to make that threat. We are going to act on it. And that's my promise to this community. Our kids, once again, are our most precious resource. We have to make sure that we keep them safe. So with that, I'll take questions.
Sheriff, actually I have two questions, one for you and one for Dr. Bernier. Sheriff, can you clarify, we know that the threats were made electronically. Can you clarify how you were made aware of them, who alerted you? And for Dr. Bernier, you said that your officers arrested 2 students. Are we saying that there's 5 total in addition to the 3 that the sheriff spoke of?
So I'll speak to the 3 that we arrested. I can tell you those threats came through our intelligence unit, learned of those threats, and began the investigative process for those threats. Once we got those threats, once we found out about them, then that's when we took action through after our investigation. Dr. Bernier.
From the school system's point of view, yes, we had 2 additional arrests that we wanted to make sure that we made the community aware of based upon our students and the actions of our police department. We can give you more information through Tracy, our
So 5 students total arrested?
2, the 3 that the sheriff messaged, and 2 specifically who go to Duval County traditional public schools.
Oh, I see now. Okay, thank you.
I have a question for you, Dr. Bernier. Can you tell us the ages of those students and what school it was?
That information will be available through Tracy Pierce, our Chief of Communications.
Yes, Sheriff.
Yes, sir.
What type of tangible threat after the fact through the investigation was found? Did these students have access to any type of weapons that you're aware of?
There's nothing beyond the threat that I'm telling you about that we'll discuss openly right now. The process is still ongoing. From what I know, no, there was not. But you don't ever want to say definitively that that possibility is not there. But what we can tell you now, that it was not. It was just a threat at this point.
I noticed you said she.
Following recent threats to local schools, you just heard there from Jacksonville Sheriff T.K. Waters as well as the Superintendent of Duval County Public Schools, Christopher Bernier, both making it clear that a threat cannot be dismissed as a joke or a prank. We heard the superintendent mention that the school system there, their school police arrested 2 students, 2 juveniles, and Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, they arrested 3, just ages 11, 12, 13 years old. Again, these are juveniles arrested for making threats on social media. He said these were electronic threats. But again, they want to hammer home the point that parents need to have a difficult conversation with their children about how serious this is and the implications if they decide to make a threat that they may perceive as innocent against their schools.